In this section, we're going to take a look at subtracting unlike fractions. And we're going to be working with proper fractions. And if you recall, an unlike fraction is a fraction where the denominators are not the same. So let's go ahead and let's subtract two fractions where the denominators are not the same. And let's look at 3/4. And we're going to subtract from that 1/3. So 3/4 minus 1/3. And as you recall, perhaps from a previous lesson, when you are adding or subtracting fractions, the denominators must be the same. And if they're not, you need to create an equal fraction so that you have common denominators, and then in this case you will subtract. So the first step that we're going to do is we are going to create equal fractions with a common denominator. You'll notice that I drew an equal sign and then a fraction bar. One way of finding a common denominator, and we need a common denominator, currently they're 4 and 3, is that you will find multiples of those denominators until you find a multiple that is common to both of them. So I will usually do multiples, maybe 3 or 4 multiples. So here we've got 4, 8, 12, and we'll do one more, we'll do 16. And then we'll do the same thing for 3, and we've got 3, 6, 9, and 12. And we'll stop there because what we notice is that 12 is a common multiple for 4 and 3, so we can use it for our common denominator. And so we want to create our equal fractions, and we know that 4 times 3 is 12. Therefore, we must multiply the numerator by that same 3, and 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4 is 12, and we'll multiply the 1 times 4, which gives us 4. We now have two proper fractions with common denominators. They both have a 12. And because we have a common denominator now, we'll write the 12 there, we can simply subtract the numerators. So 9 minus 4, and that gives us 5. And so our answer is 5/12, and 5/12 cannot be simplified any further, so that would be our final answer. Let's take a look at another example where we're going to subtract two proper fractions with different denominators. And let's look at 4/5, and in this case let's subtract 2/3. And again, you'll see that our denominators are different. We have a 5 and a 3. So the first step is to find a common denominator. And again, we're going to do that through multiples. We're going to find multiples of 5 and multiples of 3. We'll do 5, 10, and 15. We'll just take 3. And for 3, we'll keep going and see if we can find a common one. So we've got 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15. We'll stop there because we see that 15 is a common multiple. Therefore, 15 will be our common denominator. And we're going to finish and create our equal fractions. 5 times 3 is 15. 4 times 3 is 12. And 3 times 5 is 15. And 2 times 5 is 10. We have our common denominator of 15. And we subtract our numerators, so we've got 12 minus 10, which 12 minus 10 is 2. So our answer is 2 over 15. And 2 15ths cannot be reduced any further, so that's going to be our final answer. Let's try one more example, and if you'd like, you can go ahead and, after I write the problem down, you can pause the video and work through it on your own before you listen to me working through it. Let's subtract one more, and let's go ahead and let's subtract 7 ninths minus 1/3. Okay? And go ahead and pause the video if you like right now. And I'll go ahead and work through it. So we see that we have different denominators. We have a 9 and a 3. So if you did work this problem out, you can go ahead and check your answer while I'm working through mine. So because they're different, the first thing we want to do is we want to create those equal fractions, and we're going to, our two denominators, we've got a 9 and we got a 3. We'll start with the 3 this time and see if we could actually use 9 as our common multiple, and as you can see, we can. We got 3, 6, 9. And so it will get to a point where you should be able to look at those denominators and figure out a common denominator, perhaps just by looking at the two. And you will not have to do the multiples, but certainly if you can't figure it out, I would recommend that you do multiples of those numbers. So we're going to go ahead and find those equal fractions. 7 ninths remains 7 ninths. 3 times 3 is 9. 1 times 3 is 3. So 1/3 becomes 3 ninths. We now have a common denominator of 9. We subtract our numerator, 7 minus 3, and 7 minus 3 is 4. We write our answer as 4 over 9, and 4 ninths cannot be reduced, and so that's going to be our final answer.